call for a moral revival. We are so grateful and delighted that you are here at this important time in the history of our city, in the history of our state, and beyond. We're grateful that we can be here with you on behalf of the Poor People's Campaign. I'm Reverend Dr. Kelle Brown, one of the new Tri-Chairs, and I'm so grateful that you are here with us as we are continuing in this movement. It's not a moment, it's a whole movement of liberation, of justice, and about opening up this whole nation so that all of us can truly participate for real. We are standing in such an important time, a precipice of an important election for real. As you've been seeing the commercials, you've been seeing all the things that are going on. We are not here to tell you who to vote for, but we are here to tell you to vote. And we are grateful that this is a time where we can lift up that all of us deserve bodily autonomy. Can I get somebody? For every person that is concerned about reproductive rights, we want to know that we are standing together and demanding justice together. There are people who are so afraid, I heard testify this week, that they are planning on what to do in the case that they get pregnant before they are pregnant. And this is a time for us to understand that if we are not working together for the rights of all people, it's not about winning people. It's really about all of us winning. And so I want for us as the Poor People's Campaign to really have this opportunity where we can be together, knowing that voting is at risk. We still have to worry about finding our way back to voting rights for all people. We know we've seen the videos of armed peoples at ballot boxes all around this country, terrorizing people and videoing people as they drop their ballots into the box. But today we are here to say somebody is hurting my sibling. And it's gone on far too long. And we won't be silent anymore. There are people who are hearkening back to racist dog whistles that we thought were dead in the 60s, but they're digging them up and we find out we may be afraid of zombies, friends, but this stuff is zombie for real, for them to be pulling up these racist dog whistles, still perpetuating stories about black, brown, Asian, and indigenous people that are untrue so that they might win. And much is at stake for us, for women and reproductive rights for all people, for the Jewish community and for the Muslim community, for the LGBTQIA community, and for all people who are doing their level best to participate in this voting cycle and beyond for the care of the whole community. So friends, we are here asking you to vote, to mail in, if you are in Washington State, your ballots, and to do it now. We're asking you to participate and to demand and to begin a revolution with us because we can't be satisfied with the way things are right now. And we are here because we are demanding justice for all time, because now is the time. And because everybody has a right to live. And because before this campaign fails, we will all go down to jail. Yes. And because somebody is most certainly hurting our siblings, it is time for us to bind together and to move forward, for we won't be silent anymore. Yes. I am thankful to each and all of you who are here today. Again, just so you know, we are together to hear some testifiers, impacted folks who will share their stories. And we are here today to talk together because in Washington State, this is such an important time for us to really talk about the issues. So we're going to split you into groups and have you talk about what is important to you. And then from there, we are going to march down to the nearest ballot box, which has been moved. But we're still going to find it. It's on King, right? On 2nd between King and Jackson. On the southeast corner. All right, glad somebody knows. I don't know where it is, but we're going to find it together. Amen. So we are grateful that you have brought your soul to the polls. We are inviting people in churches, in synagogues, in temples all over this great state to be together today. Hopefully they are looking at us on our page, but also they are invited to do their own rallies, their own marches, their own time of tabling, so that we can be on the same page and build this momentum in a state that matters. We think that Seattle's going to drag the rest of the state, but we don't always know this. And we need to make sure that we are involved so that our voices can be heard. So I thank you for taking time out of your Sunday afternoon. I thank you for being a part of it, and look for more from Washington Poor People's Campaign. We're moving forward now with an important time for a land and labor acknowledgement. And I want to acknowledge that we are not simply doing this because it's performative, but we are doing this honoring that we are on Duwamish, Coast Salish land, and honoring that they have been stewards of this place. So inviting me to come forward now and share. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Ning Chen. I'm part of the statewide coordinating committee for the Poor People's Campaign in Washington. And I will read a land acknowledgement followed by a labor acknowledgement. We acknowledge that we reside on the unceded ancestral home of the Coast Salish peoples, including the Duwamish, Snohomish, Suquamish, Muckleshoot, Snoqualmie, Puyallup, and other indigenous peoples who have treaty rights to this land. As settlers on this land, we need to, it's our obligation to, educate ourselves on the multi-layered injustices that these communities still experience. The Duwamish and other indigenous tribes were the first people to be made houseless in this region. These communities have endured not just genocide and forced displacement by white settlers, but also a centuries-long attack on their language, ceremony, food, medicine, education, governance, and so much more. The Duwamish have been denied federal recognition by the U.S. government, meaning that they have been denied the right to establish a sovereign tribal government or possess lands in a protected trust. We thank these caretakers of this land who have lived and continue to live here since time immemorial. We also pay homage to those stolen from Africa, placed in chattel bondage, forced into labor, and called slaves. To those who lost their lives blasting through mountains to build the Transcontinental Railroad, and to those who labored in our fields to feed the world. We honor our ancestors for their forced, unpaid, underpaid, and exploited labor that built much of the Americas. To our indigenous, African, Asian, and Hispanic forebears, we commit to the continued struggle for liberation, reparations, labor protections, due process, and equal access. For it is through this and justice that we truly give honor.
I'm looking at our time. I'm going to invite you, Susan, to come up for the next part. I think we'll have plenty of time to be singing as we march. So come on up. Let's begin with the testifiers, please.
And just for those of you who have any concerns, those of us who are taking our masks off to speak have tested negative this morning. So please rest assured, we all want to be safe. So I'm really delighted to have the honor to introduce some of my wonderful brothers and sisters who are here to testify. I think almost all of them were with us in Washington, D.C. on June 18th, which was a wonderful mobilization time. And so our first speaker, in fact, was our speaker for representing the state of Washington, David Lee. Sorry, I'm in my wrong place here. David Lee has been a substitute teacher for the Tacoma School District for over 8 years. And he's currently a grad student at Seattle University where he's studying to be a hospital chaplain. He is the proud son of Korean immigrants, and he says that he will make his voice heard by voting. So please, David.
Hello. Hi. Forward together.
Not one step back.
Forward together.
Not one step back.
My name is David Lee. I'm a Korean American immigrant, and I've been a substitute teacher for 8 years, and I'm currently a graduate seminary student at Seattle University. Growing up, hearing the words alien, illegal, or go back to where you came from made me feel unwelcome in the United States. My parents, with English being their second language, also faced many discriminations in the United States. After 28 long years, my parents finally became a naturalized U.S. citizen. But even with their citizenship, my parents continue to struggle today. My father is a 64-year-old sign builder with a meniscus tear on his knees, but because of our poor healthcare system, he has not been able to get his knees properly treated. My mother works as a caregiver to assist with the bills, but because of the debt my parents are in, I do not know when they will be able to retire. Also, with the recent rise in Asian hate crimes, I have realized that regardless of my parents' immigration status, they are not safe in the United States. In response, I have heard our government advocate for the Asian American Pacific Islander community. As a Korean American immigrant, I want to say to our leaders in government, true advocacy for the AAPI community begins by not only addressing the hate crimes, but addressing the lack of mental health resources for poor and working class people. Student loan forgiveness for students like me who would like to pursue their dreams without being in debt. As a teacher, I also want a better future for our children, where we do not have to live in fear over gun violence. A universal healthcare system that is accessible for all. And addressing our climate crisis so we can live a better world for the next generation. That is why I believe that our vote matters. And it is through our vote that we will make our voices heard. We won't be silent anymore.
Thank you, David. I'm sure that you're not only the proud son of Korean immigrants, but they're the proud parents of you. So thank you for your words. So our next speaker is Anitra Freeman, who also went to DC with us. Anitra is a formerly homeless activist who is organizing with housed and unhoused people at Share, at Wheel, with Women in Black, and with Real Change. So help me in welcoming Anitra.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. So currently, I work with the homeless organizing efforts of Wheel, Share, and Real Change. But almost exactly 27 years ago, I was towards the end of a year-long depression and becoming homeless. I did not become homeless because of depression. There are lots of people experiencing depression who don't become homeless because they have resources. I became homeless because in this corporate commercial culture, if you are not of economic value, why should the system keep you alive? If you don't have enough resources to survive, why, we aren't going to give you survival resources for free. Fortunately, there are a lot of good people doing a lot of good things. And a mental health outreach worker found me and got me survival resources. And I got hooked up with some of the most exceptional groups in the country, homeless and formerly homeless men and women organizing for themselves, Wheel and Share and Real Change, and they're doing a lot of good things. The homeless and formerly homeless women of Wheel run our own 2 staffed shelters for homeless women. But there are a lot of bad things happening too. One of the other things that we do is to stand a woman in black vigil whenever somebody homeless dies outside or by violence in King County. And this year, we have already stood for 190 people. That's the highest ever. We also do a permanent memory for those people. We've got 11 leaves already up at El Centro de La Raza, and being watched over by the statue of Roberto Maestas. And inside a room next to there, we have one of the ofrendas for Day of the Dead. And that has a leaf for everybody we've stood for from October 1st of 2021 to September 30th this year. And you'll see it's overloaded. Because this mayor looks at homeless people sleeping outside and does not think our system is failing these people. He thinks those people are failing our system. Sweep them away. They are obstructions. Sweep them away. I do not have enough time to tell you everything that we need to do to end homelessness, because it is everything. All of our problems are linked together. But there is one thing that you can do this week. The organizations I work with and several others are having a rally to stop the sweeps. 4:30 on Wednesday at City Hall. Please come and bring other people. We can, with enough people, we can stop the sweeps.
Yes.
Forward together! Thank you. I have flyers.
All right.
Yes.
Wow. Thank you, Anitra, for those powerful words and just heartbreaking statistics of numbers of human beings on our streets who have passed. Thank you so much. So our next speaker, I had the honor of just being with down in Kelso. She's with an amazing group she started called Shoulder to Shoulder, Families Shoulder to Soldier, Shoulder to Shoulder, a group of system-impacted volunteers that show up at court hearings to support incarcerated individuals and their families. So Karen and I backed a company. It was my first experience. It was so moving and astonishing to help pack the courtroom to help a young man that we hope can get released. So Jenny does amazing work, and it's my honor to bring her up.
Hello everybody, my name is Jenny Parham. Thank you for inviting me here today. I want to start my conversation today by sharing with you a little bit about my family. I am the mother to 3 adult persons and also the grandmother of 4 grandsons, soon to be 5 grandsons. My children and my grandchildren knew firsthand when they were growing up what it was like to live in overly policed neighborhoods and neighborhoods that were segregated along racial and ethnic lines. My children grew up in the Tacoma Hilltop neighborhood, where we had limited resources, high poverty rates, low-income housing, inadequate schools, and because of these factors, the Tacoma Hilltop neighborhood was an easy place for drugs and gang activity to thrive. I know that many can relate to living in these kinds of neighborhoods, where we do the very best we can with what we have. I try to do the very best as a single mother, but even with my very best, my oldest son, Willie, was seduced and inducted into gangs. My life and the life of my oldest son, Willie Nobles, changed in a devastating way on January 25th, 1997. That is the day that Willie was charged with a crime of first-degree murder for a gang-related drive-by shooting. That day changed the trajectory of our lives. At the age of 18, my son Willie was sentenced and he would go to prison for 96 years. And I would have to learn to become a prison activist, which at the time I was lost, alone, and I didn't have a clue where to start. Willie started working hard in prison to transform his life, and in my communities I would network with anyone who would listen to me in my efforts to find an avenue of freedom for my son. Both Willie and I continued to pray consistently for many, many years. Willie's opportunity for a second chance came in 2018. After spending 21 years in prison, Willie proved to a judge that he was no longer that lost and immature 18-year-old kid that committed that crime in 1997. And the judge believed that Willie was redeemable. Willie was given his life back when the judge, in an exceptional sentence downward, took 65 years off of Willie's sentence. However, Willie did end up spending a total of 26 years in prison before being released. Willie spent his 21st birthday, his 30th birthday, and his 40th birthday behind bars. Because Willie went to prison at such a young age, he never had the opportunity to drive a car, or graduate from high school, or even vote. Willie was released in November of last year, and when he left prison, he left with an associate's degree and with a great job waiting for him. I'm so very proud of the compassionate, mature, and grown man that Willie has become. I will never forget these words as long as I live. With God, all things are possible.
Amen.
I will never forget, and God made it possible for Willie to change, and God made it possible for Willie to come home. Willie Nobles is here tonight to share with you how he has been given back his freedom, and also how he has been given back his voice, which is a strong voice that will speak out against racial disparities, and a strong voice that will speak up for social justice. Willie Nobles.
Hello everyone. How we doing today? You here? I'm glad to be here with all y'all today. Like she said, my name is Willie Nobles. I'm massive incarceration in the state of Washington. I've been incarcerated, I was incarcerated for 26 years. For me, losing voting rights felt like I was still incarcerated, like one cage into another. While I was incarcerated, my friends and I would get into debates about politics all day long. The Black Prisoners Caucus we started our own higher education program. We stayed involved and talked about politics, and even got certificates for local politics. But despite all that, we had no say in it. When you don't have the basic right to vote, it's like you're not human. You are living in a world but so far apart. I watched politics play out on CNN, Fox, saw the rise of Black Lives Matter, experienced the coronavirus pandemic, but was not allowed to be involved. I would watch the news knowing that this ain't right, but I couldn't fix it or be part of it. I was involved with education, liberation, and fighting for the stigma of incarceration while inside. But I wish I could push the line or pick up a sign. This year, I will vote for the first time after 26 years of incarceration. Thank you for clapping. I was gonna say you could clap. Getting my voting rights back felt like a newfound freedom. Like a burden that had been bound on me was uplifted. It felt like hope, change, aspiration. It felt like the first step towards breaking the chain of not caring in my family and community. Some of the non-caring comes from believing we have no power to change anything.
That's right. Especially
in the urban Black neighborhoods. Many of us believe that everything is rigged, and that a few people are building the system to work against us. The oppression that we've dealt with is very real. There's the reason why they call incarceration the new Jim Crow. The drug laws, the gun laws, and sentencing laws are targeting minorities the most. We're not able to get proper housing, a job, and all the things that could help after being incarcerated. It's an uphill battle, and too much stress brings us back to the same situations, back to doing the same things. But if we do not have the right to vote, We have no power to change the laws that will put us behind bars for longer, or even just oppress us. The only way forward is to change those laws and put legislators and judges in the places who are working for us and are working by us and for us. All the new laws that have improved life for our community are because of the people in the community voting and speaking up. All of you today and today.
Yes.
We saw this happen with the voting right restoration bill. Even in prison during the horror of COVID lockdowns, everyone was talking about how big of a win this was, talking about the next steps. Now that I am free, I'm even more involved with the movement and our people. Our votes really do count. This big first steps for rights restoration proves that when the community comes together, wonderful things can happen. Change starts right here, now, with us.
That's right. That's right.
Many people may not be voting or might not know about the new law. Let's talk about it and bring it to our communities, especially our Black and minority communities. Word of mouth is beautiful too. Ground zero is right now, and this is going to be the movement. Let's get it.
Lucky to have your strong voice out here freely speaking, because we need to hear your message, so thank you so much. But not all of us can vote. Our next and our last wonderful speaker, my friend Blanca Estela Ortiz, fled to this country from El Salvador to escape life-threatening persecution for her social justice activities. Very brave woman. She came in 2017, and she is a passionate advocate for her community with a group called Super Familia, which helps unaccompanied and undocumented youth and mutual aid group. So, Blanca, please come and speak.
Hello to everyone. This is the first time I'm gonna say something in English. First of all, thank you so much for the opportunity, to the campaign, for giving me this opportunity. My name is Blanca Ortiz. I have lived in Seattle for 5 years now. I grew up among poverty and many deficiencies during a decade of civil war in my country of El Salvador. My dream and idea from childhood was social justice. That is why I developed myself in the subject of humanity. I became an activist for the last 3 years before coming to the US. I am a lawyer in my country. Because the persecution there is against the defenders of human rights in Latin America, I had to leave my country, my life whole, after having been the victim of 2 assassination attempts against me. These were very strong attacks. After the last one, I was hospitalized and almost died. I declare myself a survivor. The fight for rights and equality for the migrant community, especially from mine and all countries. I had the opportunity to study and get an MAP certification on September 2020 at North Seattle Community College. This is a medical assistant phlebotomist. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy being an immigrant and not Native American speaker. I encountered many difficulties along the way. The worst of that was discrimination from a white Caucasian teacher who almost stopped my process of registration while I got the approval score just because I am Hispanic. Actually, I continued with my ESL program to get my GED.
Yes.
My jobs before pandemic and while I was studying were youth counselor for under 18 years old homeless children, caregiver for the DSHS of Wa Department of Health, working with adults with disabilities and autism. My first contract for LabCorp ended on July 2021. Since this date, and currently I cannot practice in the medical field. As a phlebotomist, because my work permit has been delayed for almost a year now, due to the pandemic and the closure of immigrant offices to survive by working housekeeping, babysitting, cleaning houses. I consider that this system is very unfair to the migrant community in terms of unequal conditions for job opportunities. Even having a work permit and paying the government to be able to work, plus lawyer fees to have access to work in the United States, due to stress, economic problems, and unemployment during the pandemic in 2021, I had to go to emergency room. I was hospitalized without insurance and got a bill of $7,000, subsidized, and I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. And now I can't continue with the primary care to get the prescriptions because I don't have insurance for access to the healthcare system. I just want to add something that I write in the last minute now. Every human being has the right to migrate and live safely. Okay? I just want to mention to you, because I am here in front of you because of my community. When a woman and a child coming and cross to the border, it's not because they want to. It's because they are suffering violence in their countries. Think about it, please. And just think how hard it is for these families going away from all type of violence, crime organizations, and gangsters. That is the reality in Central America. Thank you very much for your time.
Heartbreaking in every language that you did so much for social justice to come and find so much injustice here. So let us all vote. Yes. We will vote, and now we're going to get sung to by our amazing Raging Grannies.
Hi everyone, thank you for being here. We are going to sing what we hope are relevant songs. I think so. Seattle Raging Grannies, we're part of the international network of Raging Granny groups, and I just want to say we're mobilizing. We're a mobilizing partner with the Portable campaign, and I'm Karen, and I'm on the state coordinating committee. Cindy?
Joanna, and I grew up at Plymouth.
Okay.
Connie, Rosie, Bill, Beth. I need her again.
I just want to say, if I'm going like this, that means I want you to sing along at that point. Okay? We love audience participation. Okay, everyone.
Urging you on with your families. We don't think it's great to live on the street. Homes for all. With so many homes in our city. So few for the poor is a pity.
appreciated. You'll hear because we aren't going to polls anymore. But it's okay.
So just type in the box where you hear it.
Okay.
Get out the voters, that's the American way. Get out the voters, that's how we all have our say. We won't be silenced by black hats and big money hats. We want liberty for everyone, get out and vote today. Go to the polls now, our issues are all on the line. Go to the polls now, for women things aren't so fine. Our healthcare choices cannot be taken away. Protect parenthood and women's rights, preserve them today. Some try to stop us with devious anti-vote plans, like voter ID, but we know that that's just a sham. All of our people need equal access to vote. Let's all get out the voters, bring democracy to our land.
We're going to end with a Poor People's Campaign song. If you haven't signed up, please go over to the table so you can get our newsletter and learn about our open house and other things that we will be doing. Okay? So, ready?
Boston, that's probably the grannies, so we toss and we turn late at night, wondering why there are so many hungry in a land that's so rich that ain't right. Well, it's too hot.
It's too high. Yeah.
Moral revival, come join the Poor People's Campaign. And poverty in our nation, come join the Poor People's Campaign. The government spends all our taxes for fighting in lands far away, killing women and kids without reason. It's no wonder our hair's turning gray. Drilling and fracking and dumping to fatten their wallets, you see. And they don't really care if we live or die. It's enough to make Mother Earth weep. It's time for a moral revival. Come join the Poor People's Campaign to end poverty in our nation. Come join the Poor People's Campaign. Equality for all people, they say it's the law of the land. But our system is blatantly racist, so together for justice we stand.
Everybody?
It's time for a moral revival. Come join the Poor People's Campaign to end poverty in our nation. Come join the Poor People's Campaign.
All right, Raging Grannies. Thank you. Friends, we always try to pack in too much, so what we want to do is just take maybe 10 minutes for us to gather with, I think if we can gather in maybe groups of 5. So find about 5 folks around. The point is for you all to know each other, because that's part of the reason why these types of, or this time is so important. We don't know each other. We don't know each other's issues. We're guessing based on facts that aren't really facts, alternative facts or whatever they call them. And so, but we can end that by building community here and now. So I would invite for you to just turn around and to greet a few folks, find out who's around you, and if you can't have time, to talk about one issue that's important.